What's up, guys? Live. Welcome back. Welcome back. What's up, everybody? Hope everybody's doing good out there. Welcome back to Yes, Your Educational Story. Liberated Success is in the house. What's going on, Liberated Success? Kev, what's going on? 100 Suits. Good to see you, my brother. What's up, Jay? Tesla Styles all the way from California. How those stocks banging out in California, sir? AG Fung, Angie Fung, all the way from South America. What's going on? Kev, we have to talk. Anyway, guys, welcome back to Yes, Your Educational Story. Diesel D, what's going on? Diesel D will be joining us in a couple of weeks. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. And it's been an interesting week. First week of summer school, summarizing. So we started this program, Yes, Your Educational Story, because interested in just hearing different stories about where we're going, where we're coming from. What's up, I Am For Equality. J Baby D Ice, what's going on? And we truly believe that your zip code should not determine your destiny. Oftentimes we go, hey, Kawan, what's going on? Shout out to Kawan. You know, your zip code should never determine your destiny. Tonight we have a very special guest, and she's going to be telling her educational story. So listen, if you want to live a happy life, ladies and gentlemen, tie it to a goal. What's up, Alyssa? Tanya, what's going on? What's up, Deb? What's up, Antoinette? Shout out to Madison. Shout out to Ryan. What's going on? Trev Narain, bless to you. Yeah, if you want to live a happy life, ladies and gentlemen, tie it to a goal, not to people. You tie it to people, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. And another way of being successful is always doing the right thing. We know what's right and we know what's wrong. Try to always do the right thing, ladies and gentlemen. That takes us a long way. And work hard, because nothing is going to come to you. You know, it's I believe it was Aristotle who said, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. So practice excellence every day, and you will develop great habits. All right? And listen, everybody comes up with $1 million idea every second or every minute or every time you wake up, you know, but it won't be $1 million idea unless you act on it. So if you're sitting on an idea right now, act on it, ladies and gentlemen. Act on it. And again, right now, we started Yes because we want to hear these stories, these overcoming stories of starting in certain zip codes. Like I was born in 11212, Brownsville, Brooklyn, never run, never will. And, you know, my zip code ultimately was supposed to determine my destiny. But no, we changed that narrative. All right, and these are some of the stories that we are listening to, and there's an excellent one tonight. So tonight, sponsors, ladies and gentlemen, is Miss Fanny Sweet Shop. Miss Fanny Sweet Shop, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Fanny Sweet Shop. So if you log on to Miss Fanny Sweet Shop, you will get 5% off your first order. So please log into Miss Fanny Sweet Shop and enter the code, Yes, Your Educational Story. So, you know, I like to start off with a little rap lyric before we go in. I know I can be what I want to be. If I work hard at it, I know I can be what I want to be. If I work hard at it, I'll be where I want to be. B-boys and girls, listen up. You could be anything in this world. Anything. You could be anything in this world. An architect, a doctor. What's up, Juice? Mr. Juice Man Jay. An architect, a doctor, maybe an actress. But nothing comes easy. It takes much practice. Like, I met a woman who's becoming a star. She was very beautiful, leaving people in awe. Singing songs, Lena Horne, but the younger version hung with the wrong person. Got her strong on that heroin, cocaine, sniffing up drugs, all in her nose. Could have died so young, new looks ugly and old. I know I can be what I want to be. I know I can. That's from Nas, right? And that's going to come up later. And Nas is right. You could be anything in this world you want to be. Anything, right? So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's jump right into it and invite our guest, Miss Ebony Tyler, on. Let's see if she's here. Okay. See where she is. Where are you, Eb? Okay, hold on. A little difficulty here. Here we go. Here we go. All right. And we, without further ado, will have Miss Ebony Tyler. You there? What's up, JJ? All right. What's going on? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Hi.
Oh
Can you
man,
hear
it's
me?
yes, I can hear you. It's so wonderful to have you on. Thank you for joining us. I'm buckling up because I'm ready for this ride. This is let me sit back. Okay, this is gonna be a really good story. Okay, first of all, thank you, and state your zip code.
So the zip code that I'm repping is 11210 Flatbush. Shout out to Flatbush.
All right, big up Flatbush. All right, so Ebony, where does your story begin?
So well, I want to shout out Flatbush again, because I grew
Okay.
up on the flyest block in Brooklyn, 40th Street. People used to come from all over to come and chill on 40th between H and I. So shout out to the block.
Okay.
But I went to school. I didn't go to elementary school in the neighborhood. I went to PS 399, which is kind of like in the heart of Flatbush, or Albemarle and Rogers.
Wow,
And
that's Flatbush.
that's Flatbush,
That's
right?
Flatbush.
That's the heart of it,
Yes,
right?
that's deep Flatbush right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But where I grew up, where I lived at was 11210 Flatbush, the Junction. So
All
I
right.
went to PS 399,
So, Coach.
and
Mhm.
at that time it was run by two amazing Black women.
Okay.
Miss Mabel Robinson was the principal,
Mhm.
and this was in the 80s. And every day we stood as a school community and said, I am somebody. I can achieve. After singing Lift Up Your Voice and Sing. That's what we did every day before we went off to our classrooms to learn.
Wait,
And
I'm sorry. I mean, now you remember this is elementary school, right?
yeah,
And you
first
were you and you
first grade
remember
to fifth grade. First
and
grade
you
to fifth
remember.
grade.
Wow, but you remember your elementary school principal's name?
Yeah, Mabel Robinson. And the assistant principal was Marilyn Reed. Yes.
That's impressive. That's impressive. That means that they must have left some kind of mark on you. Because
Oh
I can't
yeah.
remember, and I would question anybody right now who's online if you could name your elementary school principal, because I can't remember mine. But I'm sorry, gotta continue because that's impressive.
Yeah, you know what? One thing about Miss Robinson that always stood out to me is that she had all sons, and their names were Malcolm, Martin, Marcus. So that was pretty dope too.
Okay.
So it was something about standing up, saying that every day, and that I didn't really know the impact that it had on me until,
Mhm.
in adulthood. But
Okay.
it definitely made me believe that I could do anything I want to in this world. So like I've started several businesses, and I've had
Okay.
all these ideas, and I just literally believe I could do whatever I set my mind to. And I think it has to do with standing up every day and saying I am somebody, I'm worthy, I can
Mhm.
achieve, singing the lift every voice and sing every day, and definitely being grounded and rooted in Blackness. I mean, my name is Ebony.
All right. Okay.
My father said I named you Ebony, so that they would just have to get over you being Black and move on to something else.
That's interesting.
Um, yeah.
Shout out to what's your dad's name?
His name is Lee Tyler.
All right. Well, shout out to Lee Tyler. I like that. I've never heard that before. I like that. All right. So elementary school, what's elementary school like?
Elementary school, it was a very, like, again, it was a very Black space. Like
Okay.
everybody was there was Black, all the kids, the teachers. There were a few white teachers, but um it was just a school community, and you really felt that you knew people. I felt loved and warm there. Yes, I had a very good feeling. All my memories there are just great memories. Yeah.
Well, it definitely stuck because I mean, for you to remember that and found it's all about foundation, right? So even though we're in the middle, you're in Flatbush, aka the inner city, the hood. It that school seemed to have defined or changed. It didn't go along with what the norm was for normal public schools in New York
Yeah.
City. Because
Hmm.
you're not singing "Lift Up Your Voice" and sing at at elementary schools in Brooklyn,
No,
right?
no, no, you're not doing
And,
that.
and you're not reciting, which is powerful. To tell to be able to tell a class every single day you could be anything you want to be. That's impressive. That's impressive. So what happens after elementary school? Where'd you
So,
go?
I went to Huddy Annex, Huddy Main.
Okay.
But one thing I want to stress about my block and growing up in Flatbush is that like everybody had a mom and dad. Everybody's parents owned their own home on that
Mm,
block. So that was my normal.
okay.
Um, so I didn't know that to be any different
Mm,
until I got around people who necessarily, didn't grow up in that type of household. So I just thought that that was just,
normal.
normal.
Okay.
Because that's how my block was in
Okay.
Flatbush. So I went to Huddy. I went to Huddy Annex, and I went to the annex. But when my mom took me there, she didn't know that there was a magnet program at the main building, and I found that out in seventh grade when I
Okay.
went over to the main building. And all through elementary school, I was in like the one class. So
Okay.
I feel like,
What's the one class? And explain to people what Huddy is, because if I got people here from South America and California. What is Huddy?
oh, so it's a junior high school 240 on the
Okay, there you go.
on Nostrand and Avenue K, I believe. And it
Okay,
was called
Flatbush.
Andreas Huddy, and I believe that he was a landowner, and he owned a lot of property
Yeah.
in
And,
Flatbush, in that area, in that Midwood area.
and in
Um,
Brooklyn we call it Cuddy.
Cuddy,
Yeah.
Cuddy Huddy, exactly right,
Cuddy
Cuddy
Huddy.
Huddy.
Right.
So I went to the annex, and I believe that they didn't give my mom the information about
Mhm.
where the gifted program was.
Yes.
So I was in the annex, and I didn't know that until seventh grade. And I always think like, what would have happened to me if I was in, that gifted program? Where would I be now? Those
Mm,
things always stick out for me.
okay.
And then, it was junior high school was fine. I walked to school with my neighbors and stuff, and
Yeah.
it was no big deal. I graduated
Okay.
junior high school and went on to high school. But what's interesting is that high school, I wanted to go to Brooklyn Tech because my best friend on the block went to Brooklyn Tech, and she
Okay.
was 2 years older than me. Shout out Big Tasha.
All right.
Um,
Shout out to
so
Simone.
I wanted to go, and I took the little practice test and everything, but
Yeah.
I didn't really prepare.
Uh,
So obviously I didn't get into Brooklyn Tech, and I wanted to go because my friend was there. Um, so then I wound up just going to Midwood, which is down the block from Huddy, right? It's at the junction. And just because the kids on the block went, so all right, I'll just go there too. Like there was no real like thought and planning and going
mhm.
through the book or anything like that. And I think it was just going with the flow.
Yeah.
So then I went to Midwood High School at Brooklyn College at the Junction. Last
And
stop
Midwood
on
is
the 2 and a 5.
yes, and Midwood is no slouch, by the way. You know,
No, it's
because
no slouch, and not at
because
all.
it's on the campus of poor man's Harvard, right? So it's no slouch by any means. Yeah, and in many cases, I would even think Midwood is a better experience than Brooklyn Tech, but it's just my opinion.
Well, the thing is that when I think back to my experience in Midwood, is that I like to say I was in the regular program. I
Yeah,
wasn't in the humanities or the med sci program. And then I think like, what would have happened to me if I was in that program? Like, where would
yeah,
I be? Because connecting with people from back who went to high school and are who went to that program, they're like doing really amazing in life. They're chemistry teachers, they're doctors,
Mm-hmm.
they're lawyers. They're out here doing things, I'm very impressed by where they've ended up. But I do have a memory of being in Midwood, and you got to go see the guidance counselor to plan out your future and everything, right?
Yeah.
So I said to my dad, okay, I need you to come with me to this meeting to meet with the guidance counselor, because I ain't gonna let this lady tell me where I can and can't go to school. So we sitting in the class, or in the office, and I'm like, well, I want to be a pharmacist. And she's like, well, your math and your science grades aren't that good. And my father was like, they're not, Ebony, they're not really that good. And I'm looking at him like, dude, we had a whole conversation that
Yeah.
you're supposed to be agreeing with me, and you
Yeah.
up here agreeing with these people about my grades.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So
that.
So did that deter you?
Well, I wanted to be a pharmacist. I'm not a pharmacist.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you something, because the great Antoinette Smallhorne, Antoinette Lee now, said this a couple weeks ago about we end up ultimately where we're supposed to be. No matter what happens, we could say we want to do this and we're doing that and whatever, but we ultimately end up where in our space that we're supposed to be, and we'll be happy there.
That is true. So,
Yeah.
now it's time to start thinking about college,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
start to think about college. So my mom's friend told her about this Black college tour that was put together by the Harlem chapter of Omega Psi Phi. So every Saturday, my mom would take me to County Cullen Library up in Harlem for these pre-college classes, like these pre-tour classes. Because listen, they were not taking a busload of kids from New York without any preparation. Like, we weren't going on these campuses and not being prepared and knowing the right questions to ask.
That's deep. That's deep.
So this was the first year that the DOE closed for that winter break back in the 90s, in the first year. And we went to 8 or 9 HBCUs.
Wow.
And I don't know about you, but I got the programming, right? Like, I got the message on Thursday nights about Black colleges. And it's funny because, like, whenever I meet people who are like my age and they're like, well, I didn't know HBCUs existed, I'm like, well, what were you doing on Thursday nights? Because I was watching a different world.
Okay.
And I knew that I wanted to go to an HBCU. So we went to Howard, Hampton, Norfolk, Bowie, Coppin, UMES. We went to 8 or 9 of them. We went to them those during that week, right? And I just knew that I wanted to be at an HBCU. So I never applied to like any CUNY schools or any SUNY schools. And the guidance counselor, like, CUNY, SUNY, no, I'm going to an HBCU. So I'm repping my school today, University of Maryland Eastern Shore, but I didn't go there first. I went to Norfolk State first. And my parents were like, oh yeah, go there because like your best friend's going and y'all can room together and it'll be good and all of that. But it didn't work out for her, so she wound up leaving.
Wow.
And Norfolk is 8 hours from New York.
Yes.
So you only coming home for Thanksgiving. You only coming home like the breaks that you have to leave. And I was like homesick and stuff like that. And so one break, I was on the bus. I was on the Greyhound bus, and the Greyhound bus stopped at UMES campus. And I was like, oh, I'm transferring to UMES. It's halfway. It's a beautiful campus, and the Greyhound stops there, right? Like, no planning. Not like, oh, they have the major that I want. Like, nothing. Like, literally, because the bus stopped at UMES, I decided that I was going to transfer to UMES. Now, when I was at Norfolk, I was studying kinesiology because, like, now I want to be a physical therapist, right? But I'm not a physical therapist. And so when my parents came to get me from Norfolk, I'm like, we got to stop at UMES because I'm transferring there. Oh, you're transferring? Yeah, I'm transferring.
How old are you at this time?
At this time, I'm 19. I'm a freshman. So I go straight through,
Okay.
Elementary, junior high, high school, college, grad school. I go straight through.
Okay.
So they come and they pick me up. So we go to the campus, we see, and my dad is like, all right, Ebony, you can transfer once. You get one transfer.
Yeah.
But if you don't like it, you have to come home and go to Brooklyn College.
Okay.
I'm not going to Brooklyn College. You went to Brooklyn College. My mom went to Brooklyn College.
Yeah.
I'm not going to Brooklyn College. I mean, it's like right next to Midway. I'm not going.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going to go to UMES. I'm going to love it.
Yes.
It is going to be my school. I'm going to find my people.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened.
Wow.
I wound up majoring in rehab services because rehab, physical therapy, like I'm thinking there's a connection. There's no connection. There's no connection. No.
What is rehab services?
So rehab services is working with people with disabilities.
Okay.
In various different capacities,
right.
Whether working in house, counseling, service coordination. So it's a bachelor's level degree. But again, right, like no real planning, just like this is what I'm gonna do because Norfolk didn't work out. So I'm going to UMES. I'm gonna love it. It's closer to the house, and I went. Mm-hmm. So, while I was there, I was the Student Rehab Association. I really took to the program. I really liked it. So it happened to work out in my favor. But then one day I came home, I went to the dentist. The dentist was like, oh, what are you doing? Are you in school? Are you in college? I'm like, yeah, I'm about to be a senior. He's like, oh, and I always talked a lot, especially in elementary school. I was in junior high. I was always in trouble because I was always talking. So it's funny that I actually became a counselor, right? Because of all the talking. So he's like, oh, you should be a lawyer. And I was like, I should be a lawyer. Yeah, I should.
Why do people always say that to kids when kids have a lot of opinions? People always say, oh, you should be a lawyer. And why do kids always get in trouble for talking too much when they're expressing themselves? But that's a whole other thing. So, Ebony, what I'm noticing is that there's a pattern here. There's a pattern here starting from because your confidence, I feel I'm on this roller coaster ride with you, but your confidence throughout your journey is like I know I can. I'm going there. I'm going to do this. Like there's this confidence, and the foundation that was laid was so important. So I'm enjoying this ride. So go ahead, please. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
All right. So now I'm like, don't call my parents, right? Okay. So I'm gonna be a lawyer. I'm gonna go to law school. Well, okay. Ebony, you have to take the practice test, and you have to go to a prep program. Okay. All right. So UMES is in Princess Anne, Maryland.
Okay.
It's about 20 minutes from Salisbury. There's no Kaplan test prep in Princess Anne in Salisbury. Maybe now, but not 20 years ago. So my dad finds one in Delaware, and I have to drive up to Delaware every Sunday for the classes. Now I'm going to the classes, but I'm not necessarily putting in the work to study outside of class. But all through college, I'm a A student. I got 1 C by this one teacher, and it was technology, and I'm still mad about it. But A's and B's, right? Graduated cum laude. So, but I'm not really putting in the work to study to practice to pass the LSAT, right? The energy that you need to do that. Yeah. So now the day that I took the LSAT was on my 21st birthday. My birthday is September 26th. It was on my 21st birthday. And shout out to the college bestie Ty. She threw a surprise party for me for my 21st birthday. So
who is this that's on? Alicia Simone? You know that?
Yes.
What's up, Alicia?
Yes.
Alicia's like, you cracking me up with how easy you're making these major life decisions. But that's like confidence, Alicia. That was put in her from elementary school. That's why she feels you could do anything, and it's true.
Anything, right?
Yes. This ain't a dress rehearsal. This is like.
I guess clearly I've had the confidence of a mediocre white man for years. Sorry, that's probably inappropriate, but the confidence of somebody who just can't, there's people in the world who just have this confidence and they really can't do much or something. but I've just always had that confidence, right? So now I take this LSAT and I don't do well. My father called me. He's like, Ebony, I got your LSAT grades. Okay. So you got a plan B?
Is that what he said?
Literally, that's what he said on the phone. Do you have a plan B? And I'm like, yes, I have a plan B. I'm going to grad school.
Okay.
So now, Alicia, this one's for you. I did calculate the decision of grad school over Hofstra versus Assumption in Massachusetts. But the reason why I chose Hofstra was because it was in Long Island and I could live at home, and I didn't want to be in Massachusetts because and full disclosure, I never really was really confident in dealing with white people until I got much older.
Okay.
I don't know if it had something to do with always being in a Black space, because I grew up in a very Black pride environment. So I don't know if maybe I was just, I don't know. I wasn't very confident. So I knew that being in Boston was not a good idea for me. So, but I was in Long Island and Hofstra, right? That was also a little shocking, the environment. But power through. I had some friends. We went to grad school together because we all went to UMES together, and then we went into the program together. And what was really dope about being at Hofstra was that we got the RSA grant from the federal government.
Which is what? What is the RSA grant?
From the Rehab Services Administration. It's a grant that if they pay for you to go to grad school, they pay a portion of the tuition, and then you have to work in public service for 2 years for every year that they give you. And you have to report it.
Is that something you find out from the college that you're at?
Yeah.
Okay. Because where would you find that out? You know.
I found that out at the program, Dr. Lekowitz.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a really nice man, and he really took to us. So I found out from him about that grant. You know, it was like, come here and I got money, and your friends are coming. I got money for them too.
All right.
So, and what was really nice about it was that because we had the undergraduate degree, we didn't have to take some classes for grad school because we already had a bachelor's degree in rehab services. So that was really cool. So, you know, fast forward, I graduate Hofstra, right? So now I'm 22, 23 with a master's degree, and I'm a certified rehab counselor. So now I got to get a job, right? Because I just did everything straight through. Yeah. And, you know, I worked at a couple of nonprofits and stuff, but then I worked at New York State Education Department. I was a voc rehab counselor for Vested Access VR, and I did that for 15 years. And throughout that whole time, and that's working with students with disabilities and helping them develop their career path and helping them identify what their skills are, and you know, the state pays for it.
Well, listen, you know, that work that you did for those 15 years is one of the most important works in the Department of Education, because you're dealing with students who have IEPs, right? Individual education plans. Students who are labeled, right, special ed students, right? And these are students who have learning disabilities and have trouble after they graduate high school. And your work is to help those students transition, because they most likely will not go to college, and if they do go in, unfortunately, it's the percentage of them being successful is not that high. But your job that you did was so important, is transitioning these students with learning disabilities into life, right? Being able to do something in life. So that's very important work. So I want to make sure we say shout out to you, because and you know, and some people who are in that kind of work don't have the passion that you have, and I don't want to say because they're not a reflection of them, why they don't care as much, but I know the work that you do, and I just want to say shout out to you for helping all those families.
Oh, thank you. I mean, I feel like when I was there at New York State, I had a very large college caseload. And I think what the beauty of working there that I knew how to do was that I knew how to understand the policy and how to make the policy benefit the student and the family. So I really take pride that, like, I put a lot of kids in Brooklyn through college, and they don't have any student debt, because I would figure out a way to be able to calculate it And doing those college plans was a lot of work every
Yeah.
summer, getting those kids ready. But it's like, if you got into college, yeah, you got a disability, but if you got in,
Uh-huh.
and we can improve and we can write up how we can support this,
Yeah.
then why not? Let's go for it.
Let's go for it. Yeah.
So, I did that for 15 years, and I worked with high schools all throughout Brooklyn. CUNY, two CUNY schools. I was the liaison to two CUNY schools, co-wrote the CUNY best practices with
Oh, that's good.
the best practices between Access VR and CUNY
Mhm.
leads and stuff. And I really enjoyed that work. But I was the union rep.
Oh, wow, wow, wow.
And
Oh,
I
I
was the
just
union
I,
rep for 10 years.
for 10 years. I just want to shout out Anthony Nunez, who just came on, the #1 realtor in New York City. If you're looking to buy a house or an apartment, shout out to my guy, Anthony Nunez. AM and Businesses. He just joined. All right. So you were the union rep. Tell us a little bit about that. Any stories? Anything you want to share with us that you can
Uh,
share?
yeah. I mean, it was interesting to go. So I got to go to Albany Quarterly to sit
Okay.
across the deputy commissioner of New York State Education's department.
Okay. All right.
And at that time, it was a Black woman. And
Okay.
it was nice because, like, we had a real mutual respect for each other.
Yeah.
Um, and I represented all of New York City and Long Island,
Wow.
the district offices.
You see
And
that? You see that? You became the lawyer anyway. Without
ooh,
that damn LSAT. You didn't need that.
I ain't need that, right? So, it was interesting because I would say, like, if you as a manager proceed with integrity and work well with your staff, and if your staff has questions, you can answer them, or if they have complaints, that you sit down and you hear what they say, you ain't got to see me,
Yeah.
right? Because you're handling stuff in-house. It's
Yeah.
when it gets messy that you
Yeah.
got to see me. So, I did shout out to my supervisor of 9 years, Magali Lavelle. She did say, like, Ebony, sometimes you got to chill out, you got to calm down or whatever. But I went on 9 interviews to be a supervisor. Now I got kids, I got
Yeah.
private school tuition, I
Yeah.
got things to pay. So
Yeah.
I need to move up in my career. And it was like, no.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. So I wasn't able to advance at New York State
Wow.
Education's department. So I had to leave. So I left and I went to New York City Department of Education. I went to the city and worked
All right.
in a unit. I was a founding person in that unit. And I just left. I was there for 4.5 years.
Yeah.
And what I liked about that work is that I was able to take what I saw at the state, because at the state, I'm seeing the students as they come out of high school, right?
Yeah.
And they're coming out of high school and they're going into, whether it be vocational training, employment, college, right? I'm seeing that. And then taking that lens and then coming into the DOE was, now I can see what students need along the way to be able to prepare them. So now we're working with, 14 to 21 with IEPs.
Okay.
So I brought like two really different, I brought a different hat and a different perspective to the work. And I enjoyed it until it no longer served me anymore.
What do you mean? What do you mean? I mean, are you still with the DOE?
No, I'm not with the DOE. I'm not. I left. I decided, I started bumping heads with my director, and I realized, but prior to going to the DOE, I kept having this thing on my heart,
Yeah.
to start my own business, doing the work that I'm doing, but with my spin on it, right? So I started this company called Transitional Pathways of New York. And it didn't work out the way I thought it would work out. So I said, you know what? I'm going to put this on the shelf until my kids are the age for what I want to do with this work, right?
Okay.
So in 2019, again, I got an idea. I call up my crew and I'm like, I got an idea. This is what I want to do. I want to take a busload of kids and parents on a college tour to Howard. Because I got to start with the Mecca, right? Because everybody tends to know Howard. But the vision is that we're going to go on college tours. And the vision is that collectively, right, if we work together, we can take kids on a bus and families to see as much schools as possible. Because a lot of parents don't really have the money to go from campus to campus to campus to campus to visit, right? So I wanted to bring the concept of what I did and bring it to some kids who never even knew, or families who never knew about HBCUs. Because at that time, one of them was in public school, but my son was in private school, and my whole like parent crew were private school parents, and they necessarily didn't know about these schools. So I said, well, this is a way for me to expose them. So in October,
brilliant idea, by the way, brilliant. Okay,
thank you.
I mean, because for our kids, you know, you can't keep shoving these catalogs or these pictures in their face. You need to take them to the location and give them the exposure so they can see it and feel it, you know. And guaranteed, I'm sure, you know, with your idea, guaranteed, there's a high percentage of students that will be going away to college because of that.
Well, a parent, we had a conversation today. Her son had a friend. He applied to Howard because of that tour. Another girl who's about to be a senior, she all she talks about is Howard.
Yeah.
Because she went on that trip. Yeah. So it was a journey in Blackness today, and we went to Howard. We went to the National Museum, and I sold out the trip. Wow. And parents who I never met came, kids who I never met. Like, I remember my son, he was like, this boy came up to me in the hallway and was like, your mother throw college trips? I was like, I'm in these streets, okay? I'm in these streets.
That's what we want our kids to approach other kids about, right? How dope is that? Your mother's doing college trips, I want to get down. You know, not on some nonsense. That's beautiful, Eb. That's beautiful.
So that told me, all right, you could do this. So now the pandemic happens. And again, I'm like really kind of like bumping heads with my director. This is not really working out for me. And what I did was I was concerned about what was going to happen to young people because of the pandemic who was going to miss internship opportunities, right? So I was like, people throw up GoFundMes all the time. I'm going to throw up a GoFundMe. So I put up a GoFundMe. Okay. To raise $100,000 for internships.
Okay.
And then I was like, okay, I need to rethink how the strategy behind it, right? Okay. So then I started the YouTube Career Exploration Saturday, and it was a way to get donations. So, you know, I would, similar to what you're doing. And matter of fact, tomorrow, Martin is going to be our guest on Career Exploration Saturday. So
thank you. And thank you for having me. Thank you for having me on. Appreciate that.
Yeah. So I did it as like a marketing thing. And at the end, I would say, you know, like if you find our work impactful, important, informative, show us some love with a donation. So I was able to raise money to start a nonprofit. So I was able to start my nonprofit off of a GoFundMe.
Awesome.
And
congratulations, man. Bravo.
Thank you. And I was able to put in my resignation from the DOE.
To all the DOE people out there who wish they could do what Ebony did, you know, give us some shout out. My flower, give us some flowers, because listen, power move.
It was, but it also was about people actually believing in what I did. And, you know, I see one of my board members on here. I am for equality. She's my board member. You know, I came with this idea and she basically signs to be on my board of directors, right? Yeah. You know, best friend from the block signed on. You know, Alicia was our first industry mentor for our first cohort of liberated problem solvers. You know, and through that relationship, Alicia was able to like help me get my first real paying, you know, consultant job through Liberated Success. So Liberated Success, it's about community. It's about taking care of us. It's for us. It's by us. And it's a way to show young people a more strategic approach to careers.
All
instead
right.
of bumping into them like mine. So what I do is I try to use the principles around transition services, the principles around students with disabilities, which is our assessments, doing real self-reflection, and then also bringing on, an industry mentor to present a problem and having the kids kind of solve it so that they get like a view of a profession, right?
Nice.
To see
Nice.
if this is something that they like,
Yeah.
helps them with their skills. We do some leadership development, which is really soft skills training.
Okay.
But I want it to be more, I guess, culturally responsive, more speaking their language. I
Yeah.
tell the kids like, we giving you game here. You need to take this game
Yeah. So it's
for
not
your
it's not
life.
so it's not the usual boring click this button, click that button, and something spits out and said maybe you should be a carpenter or something like that. It's not anything like that. This is
No.
this is like really what's needed. I do want to shout out Bloom as Women who just joined, because Jackie Fernandez, she also just resigned from the DOE, and I know she's probably smiling right now. And so you're the second person on who has also said, you know what, I need to go do something for myself, and that I can use to really that will definitely, I guess, help society, right? But also bring you joy. And it's like that old saying, show me your friends and I'll tell you your future. Because all of your friends seem to be on your board, right? These are people like-minded. Your network equals your net worth, right? So this is beautiful.
Yeah, I think it's people that also just like they kind of like believed in what I was doing.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah, and I even got a new board
So,
member. He asked to join. He wanted to join the work. So I'm really excited about the future of Liberated Success and where we're going. So, right now I'm assisting in designing a mentorship program, which
okay.
I'm really, really excited about.
Yeah.
I got I'm in a fellowship, 4.0 new normal. So I'm going to be getting a grant to work with some more students over the fall. And I'm looking for people who want to sponsor cohorts of students
Yeah.
to be able to show them your industry, right? So this is an opportunity for you to, build relationships with young people. It's an opportunity for you to, share your work. It's an opportunity for you to give back monetarily because 75% of the funds go directly to the kids.
All
I
right.
believe that young people should be paid for their work,
That's right. Right.
because they have ideas, they have energy, they have, creativity, and they should get in a custom of receiving payment for that, you
Yes.
know. And then to just speak to like leaving a pension job, um, listen, the pension gonna be there.
Yeah.
You could take the leap. You could take money out of it to start things. You could make your 401k. I think if people are passionate about something, don't be tied to you got years of service in. Because it's gonna be there. It's gonna be there, and no job should make you sick. No job should make you. And that's another thing, like working, doing the career exploration Saturday. There were so many people who said, "I love my job. I love my job. I love my work." I'm like, I want to love my
Yeah.
job.
Wow. Listen, we got a question on the line from all the way from California, Tesla Styles. How old are the kids you help, and will you help any kids interested in your group?
Yeah, so we're 14 to 24.
Okay.
14 because that's the earliest you can start working and you can get working papers.
Mhm.
24 because you may have already graduated high school and still be struggling to launch. You may have bounced from job to job and still struggling to launch. You may be in a new career and still struggling and not really knowing how to communicate with people. So yes. And our Liberated Problem Solvers is a virtual program.
Okay.
So yeah, we're willing to work with anybody, but we center the Black experience. We
Mhm.
center the people of color experience. That we don't try to conform or to make young people assimilate. They just need to understand that, you know, how you present may have consequences. Now it's up to you how you go about it, but they need all of the information. My organization is Liberated Success, and we are a 501c3, and all donations are tax deductible. And to be honest, the donations are what actually paid the money to become incorporated. The donations paid for the Zoom. The donations paid for everything. So this really is a grassroots career exploration organization, and all help is welcomed. And we work with all kids, but we're just centered. That's our focus, is to center our experience.
I'm gonna ask my producer Derek if he could just drop the link into the chat. Tesla Styles asking if it's Liberated Success. It's a tremendous program, tremendous program. So see if Derek is out there. He's gonna drop it in there soon. But listen, guys, and Ebony, amazing. Do you want to plug anything besides this beautiful program? You want to shout out the block again? Dad, mom, what's mom's name? Shout out.
Big part of the story. I would not have been able to take the leap to leave a job if I didn't have the support of my family. Like that, having the support of your family is it's amazing to have people in your corner who actually believe in what you're doing, when other people are like, you leaving that good government job.
Thank you, Derek, for dropping it in there. That you have the link at Liberated Success for Instagram. But you know what? You're so right, Ebony. You know, we get so programmed into thinking, you know, well, damn, can't leave that good government job. Got to do those 30 years, man. You know, got to get that pension. You know, and one of the things that makes me so happy about your journey is that all along your journey, you've participated in your life. You didn't wait. You didn't take a backseat to anyone. You took the lead and just went for it. You're always, and this is your pattern throughout. Like, I want to do this. You know, the universe worked well with you in some points, like when the bus stopped at the college. But you just took that leap of uncertainty. And I know your program is going to be very, very successful, you know, because your track record is clear. So I just want to thank you for all that you're doing, and thank you in advance for all that you are going to do, you know, for all our beautiful children. So thank you. Is there anything else you want to plug? Anything else you want to share?
So we have the Career Conversations, Career Exploration Saturday. They used to be posted every Saturday, but once you start actually doing like the real work, you don't got energy to put those together on Saturdays all the time. So they drop, I'll try to drop like two a month now.
Okay.
But they're, you know, career stories where people talk about where they were at 16, and they give, you know, information on like how you can get into their field. So we have that. And if you want to make a donation, if you want to partner, just reach out. My email is Miss Ebony at liberatedsuccess.net, or you can hit our info at liberatedsuccess.net. And we have our website, liberatedsuccess.org. Yes, the org and the net is different because I was doing everything by myself and didn't know how to do everything. But now I got a team. I got people helping me now. Helping me.
And you made it happen, man. You made it happen. And so if people want to get on your show, you know, it's podcast, right?
Yeah, it's a podcast. Oh yes, and we started a new podcast. Oh gosh, me and this really, really dope mom, Flora. We started a new podcast called The New Normal in Parenting, and we are going to be talking to experts in different fields about how to apply that to this new parenting that we're doing in this pandemic.
Yes.
Because the pandemic is not really over, but we are coming into this new space, and the new normal is like how to like slow down a little bit in your parenting styles and to give you like information. I'm all about information. I think if you share as much information as you can with people, then you allow them to make a more liberated choice. instead of just figuring out things along the way.
Yeah. And
Yeah, the way
listen,
I did.
thank you. You are clearly Black Girl Magic. So
Thank you
for all that you're doing. Listen, man, you are an example of, like, this ain't no dress rehearsal. People wake up every day and think that, oh, I'll do that tomorrow. No, you got to live your life. You have to, if you have an idea, go for it. It's like what I said at the top of the show. People come up with these ideas all the time, but then there's never any action behind it. And therefore, and the longer you wait and wait, you convince yourself out of the idea that it wasn't a good idea. So if you come up with a great idea, hopefully you'll have the discipline, consistency, and energy of an Ebony Tyler, and you just follow that passion. Just go for it. Don't think about it too much. Just go for it. So Ebony, I want to thank you for that. That's a great example of the way you should live your life. Alicia Simone, am I saying her name right?
Alicia Simone.
Alicia Simone. Thank you, Alicia, for all your comments. Does anybody on the line have any questions for this queen before she goes? Because she's got a lot of answers, and I hope you you log on to liberatedsuccess.org and liberatedsuccess.net.
That's
right?
my email, Miss Ebony at liberatedsuccess.net. Oh, and big shout out to Nicolette, who put us in touch with each other, who connected us.
That's right.
She's a great connector. And me and her went to Midwood together.
Yes, wow. So that's who she was talking about. Okay.
Yeah, and we're mom friends too. So big shout out to her. I mean, it's all about community and connecting folks.
Yes, it is. Your network equals your net worth, people. So please surround yourself with good people. So Ebony, thank you so much for your time, for sharing your story on your educational story. This was an amazing story, and thank you. Since you mentioned Nicolette, let's go right into our sponsor, Nicolette Emerson.com. If you are interested in what higher level massage is like, or masseuse therapy, I think that's what she said. Go to NicoletteMemerson.com, and if you mention the code YES, you will get 5% off your first massage. All right? Bless up. Keep counting. So more can multiply. Tonight's quote, ladies and gentlemen, it's the everyday experience we encounter along the journey to who we want to be that will define who we are when we get there. Okay? And one more sponsor, Florida Rum Cake. Actually, two more sponsors. Florida Rum Cake. Go to Florida Rum Cake, FloridaRumCake.com, and you'll get 5% off your first order for Florida Rum Cake. And our last sponsor is Dr. Tedder, drtedder.com. His book, COVID-19. Please check it out. You can pick it up on Amazon. And that's it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. And Ebony, your zip code did not determine your destiny. So thank you for coming on. We really appreciate you. This was a great story. All right, to everyone who logged on, thank you so much. Ebony, peace.
Peace.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.